Hi, and welcome to Quilty Pleasures, and this is our 2021 Saturday sampler. This is our Timeless Traditions. Isn't it gorgeous? It's all batiks. So those of you who have a kit with us, I wanted to explain what's going on. So first, in your kit, you will have a cream, and this is 1.5 yards, and it is going to be for all the backgrounds of the blocks only, not your borders. So you know that's what that is. And this is always going to be fabric 1, and this will be fabric 5. These are for the blocks only, not for the borders or the setting. So I wanted to get that explanation to you, and there's a little piece of paper in your kit to show you that. So first off, I wanted to explain we have a 12-inch block and 2 6-inch blocks. Each month we will be making 3 blocks. So you'll have 2 packs of fabric. This one is for your 12-inch. So it will explain what fabrics are what by their dimensions. So we know this is fabric 2 because fabric 1 is always your cream. So fabric 2 is going to be this cream. Fabric 3, 7x16, is the pink. And the 7x12 is the green. So I want you to do the 12-inch block first. We'll go through that right now. I'm going to show you how to do that one. Then we'll move on to the other 2 6-inch blocks. So first, I don't like making exact because I like to square down. So I changed the cuts a little bit, but if you want to do the cuts the way they are, it works, but there's no playroom. And we need to do a scant 1/4 inch on all these blocks, or else they're going to be too small. So change your stitch width on your 1/4 inch just a little bit and give yourself a scant 1/4 inch. There's also feet out there for almost every machine, even featherweights, for a scant 1/4 inch. So look into that. If you have any issues, give us a call. So first off, we need to do is fabric 1. Instead of 5 1/4, I just made it a tiny bit bigger at 5 3/8. The 4 3 1/4 squares, I left them, those work. So again, fabric 2 is the same, 5 3/8, made a little bigger. On the 4 7/8, I made that 5 inches. So you can see it's just a tiny bit bigger. It gives you a little playroom. The 1 4.5 inch square, you keep that the same size. That's going to be your center. So all these blocks will be 4.5. So fabric 4 is 5 3/8. Again, I made a little bit bigger. And then fabric 5 is a 5 inch as well. So follow the instructions as they are. I'll go through them real quick with you. It's not super hard. We're going to make this block right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and do fabric 2 to fabric 4, just like the instructions are here. You do this one and this one. So we have a cream and we have a green, and then we have a fabric 2 and a green. So you need to, I lay them out like this so I know I'm sewing the correct side, because sometimes I'll pick it up and go to the sewing machine and it's like, oh wait, what side do I sew? So what I do is I'll put it together like this, and I'll put my pin in, and my sharp point is pointing to the seam I need to do. So that's a little helpful hint if you want to do that. So next is we'll sew those together to create this square. So that has to be 4.5 inches. So you need to trim that down just a tiny bit. You'll see how little we're going to trim. But you need to make sure that each of these points are in the corner. So use that 45. We're at 2 1/4 right in the center. We're going to trim all the way around and it'll be perfect. So the second one is you've cut these, the half square triangles. Go ahead and sew those 2 together, which are the pink and the brown. Then I trimmed the pink and brown down to 4.5. And then we're going to add our fabric 1, which we've drawn the line. The instructions are right here on the second page. You draw that line, put it across the pink, press it back and trim this at 1/4 to create this block here. Then we're going to sew them all together. And in the instructions, these arrows are the way you press them. So it's super simple. It's such a great pattern. I'm in love with it. We had a great time making these blocks. So the next package of fabric which is right here, is for your Ohio Star and your four corners. You have plenty of fabric for the cuts, so you need to just look at fabric 2. It's going to be the same as your 12-inch. So you know fabric 2 is this, fabric 3 and 4. 3 and 4. So I put a little piece on mine. It helped me to remember. You can write down what they are before you start sewing them. I wouldn't cut them yet, little pieces off, because I want to make sure you have enough fabric. So keep your little scraps from the next blocks on. So these ones were really simple. We're doing exactly the same technique on both these blocks. If you see here and you see here, exactly the same techniques, just a little smaller. These are going to be 2 1/2, 2 1/2, 2 1/2. So I'm not going to demo that. You know how to do this. The other thing is on the cuts. So on fabric 1 for the 4 corners, again, I made it a little bit bigger, 3 3/8, and it says 8 1 1/2 inch squares. What I did was I just cut a 1 1/2 across the short side and a 1 1/2 again. So I had 2 long strips, and I sewed my strips together, and then I subcut them. So 2 strips at 1 1/2 for the cream, and the pink will create your corners, which are here on the 4 corners. Okay, so that's that one. And the next one, they're just 2 1/2 inch squares with the same technique here. Super simple. You have plenty of fabric. So the next one, fabric 3, is a 2 1/2 for the center. Keep it that size. The 8 1 1/2, I cut it across. The fabric 4 is 3 1/4. I made a tiny bit bigger, 3 3/8. Same thing as number 5, 3 3/8. So you can choose to do that. Make sure you do a scant 1/4 inch and you'll be fine. And on Ohio Star, same thing. Whenever it says 3 1/4, I made it 3 3/8, just made it a little bit bigger. The 2 1/2 has to stay the same, which is the center, and these have to stay the same, they're 2 1/2. And follow your guidelines for your pressing and you'll be great. So if you have any questions, you can come into the shop anytime and have a quilty day.